I think we're ready to go. Sorry about that, folks. My battery power went out on my Mac, so I had to restart everything. But we're back here, and we were talking about the games from Thursday night first, the St. John Paul II and Rickards game, 35-33, the Panthers with the victory.
Yep.
You think St. John Paul would have kind of like a
Cardinal or
the Christians or the Crusaders
Yep.
but no, they're the Panthers.
okay.
And Friday night games, we already talked about Niceville, Navarre Catholic, Booker T. Washington, a wild one over Pensacola, 51-43.
And isn't that one of the oldest rivalries in Pensacola? Those two.
Most definitely. Let us know if you got us back online going. It looks like everything's good to go here on our end. Rocky Bayou over Snook Christian, a big night for the Knights.
Good night.
64-16 over Snook Christian out of Alabama. Fairhope and a tight one over Gulf Breeze, 38-31. W.S. Neal, a game that all of us missed, over Jay, 25-0. Andalusia over Milton, 42-31. Geneva, Alabama over Bozeman, 46-21. North Bay Haven over Franklin County, 35-7. Holmes County over Graceville, 51-0. Liberty County over Vernon, 21-0. Before going any further, we haven't had a chance to talk about this before our show, but a very tragic event happened for Vernon, their head coach. A few weeks back, Coach Pike was out on his boat and had a boating accident.
No.
Lost his life. He was by himself out late. What he often did is he went out and would recover those boats that were in peril. He would go out and help and tow them back. And he was out late, and I don't know if his surroundings, but unfortunately he lost his life that night. So they're starting the season a week and a half before the season. They lose their head coach, and so our prayers go out to the Vernon community. They're going to be doing a memorial service, I believe, next week or next couple of weeks, up in, I believe, in Alabama. So Coach Pike, your family, we send out our deepest sympathies in the Vernon community for your loss. And but football, as he would say it, must go on.
Yeah.
And Lincoln, I had to do a double take on this score. 71-6 against one of your crosstown rivals, Godby. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, and that can certainly cause a lot of problems at the game and then after the game. But again, when you put the reserves in, what are they supposed to do?
You keep on scoring. You got to stop us.
That's right.
It's 48.
That's right.
It's 48 minutes, no matter which. Lowndes, Georgia over Gaston County, 33-0. North Florida Christian over Leon, 35-10. McClay goes down 30-22 to Deerfield Windsor. Monroe Day over Terrell County, 28-0. Taylor County over Fort White, 22-17. And Brookwood School over Weewa, 53-6. And those are all the games for week one.
Week one's gone.
Week one's gone.
10% of the season.
We're not going to be able to get to our whole show. We're going to have to. We'll keep on talking. So why not? Let's go ahead. Let's ahead. Our week one winner in our high school picks is the guy sitting to my right.
Wow, right.
20-8. Good week, Bob.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. I finished a close second, 19-9, and bringing up, and not one of his better weeks. The young man on the chain gang over at Niceville went 14-14. He's got some room to. He's got a lot of ground to make up, Bob.
Oh, the way he picked games last year, it may not be that hard to.
Yeah. So now let's go to this week's games. Joe and I have already made our picks. So now we're going to find out your picks and any feedback that you may. If I can borrow your pen there.
Yep, sure. Got the team pen. Navarre and Pine Forest. I think all the pressure's on Pine Forest. I think we get it done late with a field goal, maybe in overtime. Navarre over Pine Forest in a huge upset.
My original pick, this is my second not so fast, my friend. I started out, I was leaning towards Pine Forest. I wrote down Pine Forest, but I am going with the home team, the Navarre Raiders, in this one as well. So Bob and I are taking Navarre, the home team, and Joe is taking Pine Forest. Crestview at Gulf Breeze. Gulf Breeze very solid this year. I think Crestview is just a little bit better. Joe and I are taking the Bulldogs on the road.
I'm taking the Bulldogs on the road. Two
Okay,
tough teams to start the season for Gulf Breeze.
And speaking of tough teams, our next game, Ocala Vanguard, comes west on I-10 to face off at Niceville, one of the toughest places to play. Joe is, for the second straight week, is taking not Niceville. He's taking Ocala Vanguard. I'm going with the home team Eagles. And
I'm going with Vanguard.
You're going with Vanguard as well. Okay, let's move on down to West Florida. Washington, a good team. West Florida just a little bit better. Joe and I are going with the Jaguars.
As well. I as well.
Catholic at Milton. Milton, a solid program at home for the second straight week. A second straight week loss, which I think will happen as they take on Catholic.
So you're picking Catholic.
Joe and I are taking Catholic.
I'm going with the home team, Milton. They got
Emory
to me.
Williams.
They got too many weapons.
Next, we got Tate going to Pensacola, a game that has been moved from Friday to Saturday morning because of events that happened last week at the game. They're going to move it to a Saturday game, and they're going to move it to Tate. For safety reasons, they're moving this game to Tate. And Tate they're offensively and defensively challenged. Pensacola put up 43 points last week. I'm going with Pensacola on the road.
Going with the Tigers, my wife's alma mater, and my mother-in-law's alma mater. My brother-in-law's alma mater.
Really? I did not know that.
Yep.
I knew it was your wife's, Kirsten's. So next we have St. Martin, Mississippi, heading over to Pace. Pace fresh off that come from behind win. I think they're going to make it 2-0.
I picked Pace as well.
So all three of us take Pace. Choctaw, a tough loss at home. Now they got to go over to Fairhope. Fairhope with a big win over Gulf Breeze last week. I got Fairhope as well. So does Joe.
I have Fairhope as well.
We got Bay, fresh off a win, going at Mosley. Well, it's not very far. In fact, they play on the same field.
Right. And swap locker rooms.
So it's just a matter of what jersey you're wearing.
Right.
So I got Mosley winning a tight one at home. So does Joe.
Mosley here.
Lincoln at Palm Beach Lakes. Let me tell you a little bit about this game. Lincoln put up 71 points on Godby last week. Palm Beach Lakes gave up 80 last week in an 80-0 loss. How ugly could this game be? Could we see triple digits?
Nah.
You remember the last area team to put up triple digits?
Pensacola High.
You're correct. Your wife's alma mater.
They played
Back in the 1920s.
They played the Marines. Beat them 100-0, I think.
I used to have those. Well, that's one of my stat sheets that I have. But you are correct. It is Pensacola. They did it twice that year. Scored over 100 points. And in fact, they're the oldest program in the state, in the Panhandle.
That's correct.
So I am going with Lincoln. Wonder what the the spread is. 80?
I don't know.
That wouldn't be high enough.
Lincoln?
Both going with Lincoln. All three of us going with Lincoln there. South Walton going to Fort Walton Beach. After watching Fort Walton last week, I just don't think they have enough offense to beat South Walton.
Or defense.
We're going to go, all three of us are going to go with South Walton on the road at Fort Walton. Escambia goes over to Gulfport, Mississippi. I don't know a whole lot about Gulfport, Mississippi. Escambia put up 11 on a very tough West Florida team last week. I'm going with the home team in this one, Gulfport, as is Joe.
I went with Gulfport as well.
Florida High traveling to Ponte Vedra.
Outside of Jacksonville?
And the alma mater of one Mr. Tim Tebow.
Yep.
And Bill Bates' sons both played. You remember Bill Bates that played for the Cowboys? Both of his twins played there as well. And I am going to go with Florida, with the home team, Ponte Vedra. The Sharks, I believe they are.
I'm going with Florida High.
So you and Joe going with Florida High, so I'm the only one different in that one. Monroe going to Leon. Monroe easily in this one.
Maybe the best team in the Big Bend area. I'm going with Monroe.
Wakulla going to at Gaston County. Joe and I going with the War Eagles after a tough win in overtime last week against Childs.
You know, Gaston played Lowndes County. You just don't know how good a team is when they play a dominant team, one of the best teams in Georgia. I'm going for Gadsden at home on a bounce back.
Okay, next we have Godby going to Madison County. First you start off with Lincoln, then you go to Madison County, Boot Hill. Godby, you're going to be 0-2.
I went with the Cowboys of Madison County.
Cowboys with a C.
That is true.
Not the Osceola High School
With a
Cowboys
K.
with a K.
With a K, that's correct.
Mariana going to North Florida Christian. I like NFC in this one, as does Joe.
I do as well.
We got Sneeds going to Arnold. Sneeds a big winner in week 1. Excuse me. I think they'll be a big winner in week 2.
I picked Sneeds.
Bless you. Holmes County traveling to North Bay Haven. Joe going with the home team.
Boy, this is tough. A tough game to pick. I've
The
gone back.
Buccaneers.
I've gone back and forth on this game. Gosh.
Holmes County I'm going with. Joe took
I'm
North
going to
Bay
go with
Haven.
Holmes County. That's
Okay.
what I originally picked.
Destin, their first game. Your first game, let's say, where would you, as a small school, where would you not like to play your first game at?
Maybe Baker.
Guess where they're going?
Baker.
Baker.
Guess
Coach E.G. Green in his
E.G.
first
Green.
first varsity football game for Destin this Friday night. They'll be heading over to Baker to take on the Baker Gators, fresh off that shutout loss to South Walton. So I'm sure they're going to be a little angry over there. You know what happens when Gators are angry.
Angry, yes. Guess who Fort Walton played in their first official football game?
Baker.
Baker sure did. Won 8-7.
8-7.
I'm picking Baker.
All three of us going with Baker. Bluntstown going to Rutherford. I think we're all going to side with the Tigers of Bluntstown.
It could get ugly.
Bozeman traveling to Liberty County. I like this Liberty County team. New head coach,
Yeah.
former Vernon head coach Gerald Trent, where he went to school at was Liberty County. Some facts you probably didn't know, Bob.
Yep.
And he's going back home to coach at Liberty County, and they play the Bozeman Bucks.
Gosh, I went back and forth on this game.
Did you?
It's at Liberty. I'm gonna change my pick to Liberty.
Okay, that's what I put down. So glad I don't have to erase that. Well, I couldn't erase it anyway. Chipley going to Graceville. Graceville didn't score last week. Chipley put up 41. I look for another big night out of Chipley.
Going with the Tigers on the road.
Franklin County heading to Vernon. Vernon has lost a lot of talent and playing through a tough season this year. I'm going to go with Franklin County on the road.
I'm going with the emotion. I'm going to go with Vernon on the win.
Okay. Freeport at Jay. Freeport, a big loss. Both teams lost big in the week 1.
Yeah.
I think Freeport just has a little bit more at quarterback with Ashton Nunes.
Right.
Looking for a big comeback after last week's loss to Bluntstown. I look for Nunes to have a big night.
I picked Freeport.
Jefferson County going to St. John Paul II. No contest here. All of us taking St. John Paul II.
Yep.
Lighthouse 14-7 last loss in their first game under new head coach Everett Alford. Assistant coach, another name you'll remember is one Lee Jones is our offensive coordinator at Lighthouse. They lost to Young Kids in Motion last Friday night 14-7. So they're looking for their first win, and they will not find it against Northview because Northview will put up some points Friday night against Lighthouse.
The Chiefs. I got the Chiefs winning.
And our last game to pick, Rocky Bayou put up 64 last week. This week they're playing a team out of Jacksonville, Hollis Christian Academy, which I know nothing about. All I know is they lost their opening week, and I'm going with Rocky Bayou on the road.
I did as well.
So there's the only way you're going to know how we did is follow us. Come back next Wednesday night. I know
Yeah.
we're getting some buffering issues, but we'll press on from that. Let's go over to our college picks. We only had 10 games last week. You and I went 9-1 last week, and the only game that we missed was Northwestern and Nebraska because Scott Frost decided to
Lose his mind.
lose his mind up 11 in the in the fourth quarter, and he does an onside kick. Really, Coach? How did that game end out? Northwestern comes back and wins 31-28. So the already hot seat in Lincoln has just gotten in fuego now.
Guess who's being mentioned as a possible replacement in Nebraska?
I heard one name. It may not be the same name that I'm hearing Sam Pittman, Arkansas head coach. But why would he leave a good thing at Arkansas to go to Nebraska? Who are you hearing?
Urban Meyer.
Interesting. Has he been out of coaching long enough? Will the missus allow him to go back to coaching?
I don't know.
He's got a lot of things that he's trying to work out. I think it might be a little too early
He's
for that.
he's working for Fox again.
Yeah.
He's a good studio analyst.
He is. A lot of those head coaches are great analysts.
Yeah.
I loved listening to Bobby Knight when he started doing the analyst for ESPN. A lot of people don't like Bobby Knight, but oh well, that's beside the point. Not a smarter man on college basketball. than him.
I was laughing because sometimes Bobby can be a little blunt.
You think?
I mean, he's not a Seth Greenberg. Seth was Seth's an ACC guy. But, Urban, I enjoyed listening to Urban. I mean, look, none of us are perfect. I'm certainly not. Urban knows football. Urban knows football.
That he does. Well, let's go to our college picks. Bob and I were 9-1 last week. Joe right behind at 8-2. We all missed the Nebraska game, and the only other miss that Joe had is he took North Texas over UTEP. Actually, he took UTEP over North Texas because North Texas won that game. Well, this week we got Thursday night games. We got about a half dozen of them.
Oh, mercy.
West Virginia at number 17, Pittsburgh. Joe and I go with the home team, Pittsburgh.
Is that called a backyard brawl?
It is.
And West Virginia is bringing out new helmets.
And West Virginia is also home to one senior Navarre alum, Jordan Jefferson. But I'm going with Pittsburgh at home.
I am too. They're ranked 17th for a reason.
Ball State is heading to Tennessee, to Knoxville. Big underdogs, and they will not even have a chance in this one.
Tennessee better win this game. I've got Tennessee.
I think that the one on Thursday night that might be the best game on Thursday night is Penn State travels to Purdue.
Yeah.
Purdue always gets that big win. I'm going with the Boilermakers at home as Joe's going with Penn State.
I'm going with Penn State. Purdue has opened. I don't know what their athletic director was thinking. He scheduled openers like Iowa, Louisville, Oregon. I'm purely going with the home team in this one. Purdue has a returning quarterback. I think I listened to head coach of Purdue.
You're going with the home team. If you're going with the home team, it's Purdue.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going with Penn State in the game.
Okay.
So that would be the visitors.
Yes, correct.
Purdue has not won an opener with their head coach.
Interesting. See, folks, where else are you going to find that information if you don't tune in to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports? Bob comes out with some great points every now and then.
Just my wife would say the same thing. I think it'll be a great game to watch. I think it'll be a fourth quarter game. I'm going with Penn State and their running game, and James Franklin, their head coach. Penn
Okay,
State.
next let's move on to New Mexico State at Minnesota. The Fighting Row Your Boaters.
Row 'em, baby.
PJ Fleck.
PJ.
I'm going with Minnesota. The clean sweep there, all three of us. Central Michigan going to Okie State. Number 12, Oklahoma State, I think is going to win big in that one. VMI, Virginia Military Institute.
Yep.
At Wake Me Up Forest.
Wake Me Up Forest is kind of a dark horse in the ACC. Look for them to do special things.
It
I
would have
picked
done a
Wake
lot more
Forest.
if Hartman wouldn't have went down during the summer. They would have their highly touted quarterback, but he's out for the season, so they should still have no problem with VMI. Now let's go over to Friday night. Sacrilegious that they played college football on Friday night when high school football is being played.
Sacrilegious.
Two games. Western Michigan's going to travel across state to number 15 Michigan State. The Fighting
Spartans.
Mel Tuckers.
Oh, the Mel Tuckers, yes.
Yes.
I'll go with
The
the
Spartans?
Mel Tucker Band. Oh, that's the Marshall Tucker Band.
Illinois with a big win in week 1 over Wyoming.
Yeah.
They're going to Bloomington, not Bloomington, Illinois, but Bloomington, Indiana, to face off with the Hoosiers led by Coach Tom Allen.
Indiana wants me. I'm going with Indiana.
That's a clean sweep for the Hoosiers right there. We all three take Indiana. Let's head over to Saturday. And first we have is the producers team. They're hosting I believe they're the Redbirds. Or are they Salukis? Illinois State.
Redbirds.
Redbirds, that's right. Wisconsin, big. In fact, there's not even a line out because they're an FCS team going to Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
The Camp Randall. So we're
Wisconsin.
all taking the Badgers there. Do you want to save this game for later?
Yes.
Okay, let's save this game. They'll save that game for later.
Ohio
Okay.
State, Notre Dame.
Yeah. Number 13, NC State, highly touted NC State going. They always have a tough time playing at East Carolina. I'm going with the Wolfpack on the road.
I think the Wolfpack will pull it out.
Colorado State with Navarre alum, senior, hard to believe already. Dante Wright, senior, one of the top wide receivers in the Mountain West Conference. And redshirt freshman, defensive lineman, Grady Kelly.
Grady Kelly.
Will be
Going to the big house,
going to
baby.
the big house.
Going to the big house.
I'm sorry, guys. Michigan all the way in this one.
Yeah. You know, Michigan and Coach Harbaugh, they had this off-season. Am I going to coach? Am I not going to coach? Am I going to go to the pros?
As some people call him hairball.
Hairball, yeah. So
For the sound effects there, folks.
he's alternating quarterbacks. He said one will start this game and one will start next game.
What do you think about that?
Well, the old saying is if you've got two quarterbacks, you don't have any.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, so I'm going, obviously, with Go Blue.
Okay, next we have Sam Houston State, the Bearcats
Yep.
with a K.
Yes.
They are going up FBS. They're putting their paperwork to move to the FBS from FCS, but they're going to Texas A&M and Kyle Field.
Probably taking a few $100,000 with them.
Yeah.
Dollars, that is. I'm going with the Jimbo Fishers.
And let's see how those 8 5-star players, how many of them get to play on the field this week
For A&M.
for A&M.
Yeah.
Let's move on down to Oregon. Number 11, Oregon travels to Georgia to take on the Bulldogs. Bo Nix. Isn't it ironic, Bob, that the first game that Bo Nix played in college was against Oregon in Atlanta. a team now that he is the quarterback for that is playing in Atlanta.
Right. He played for Auburn.
He played for
at
Auburn.
the time. The Oregon coach is the former defensive coordinator
Dan Lanning.
for Oregon. Oregon is one of the favorites in the Pac-12. I just think Georgia's got too much.
I do too.
They've got probably the best offensive line in the country.
I would say so.
And so I'm going with Georgia.
We got a comment from the Peanut Gallery. Joe, thanks for staying with us despite our computer glitches that we had there. He said Urban Meyer set Florida back 5 to 7 years when he left, and I would have to agree with him.
And guess who is the new defensive coordinator at Georgia? Another Florida.
Wouldn't that be one Will Muschamp?
Well, Will Muschamp stops in Florida. He was defensive coordinator and a good one at Texas. Coached at Florida.
Not much of a head coach.
And some people are like that. And then he went to South Carolina. He was some kind of a Coach Saban specialist, offensive something or other.
An analyst.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going with Georgia.
Yeah. Next, we got a really good contest. This is not your same Cincinnati team that made the playoffs last
Right.
year. It's number
Right.
23 Cincinnati traveling to number 19 Arkansas. I'm going with the Razorbacks in this one. So is Joe.
I'm going with the Razorbacks.
UTEP going to number 9 Oklahoma. No need to talk about that one.
New coach at Oklahoma.
Same results against a lesser opponent.
Right.
Number 24 Houston going to UT San Antonio. Normally, I would say this is going to be a walk, but San Antonio is a much improved program.
They made a bowl game, I believe.
They did. They placed Western Kentucky in their bowl game,
That's right.
which was led by Zappi, was the quarterback's last name. He went into the NFL, which a new starting quarterback for Western Kentucky is now one Austin Reed. Do you remember that name?
I do.
He played at West Florida, led them to their first national title, and also at
about
St.
that?
Augustine High School, where
How
we did
about
a game.
that?
We covered the Navarre Raiders in the playoffs, and I believe it was his senior year.
How about that?
So he's the new quarterback at Western Kentucky. But I'm going with Houston, so did Joe.
I'm going with Houston, and that's where I believe Coach Mike Norville, got his start at Western Kentucky.
Now we got number 25 BYU going down to the Tampa area to take on South Florida. The weather will be hot, but I don't think it matters to BYU. They'll go in and they'll win easily.
I'm going with BYU.
We got Troy, which the producer and I got to go up to Troy a few weeks ago for a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
A little nice community up there.
Your wedding?
No, it wasn't mine.
Okay.
It was Brady's good friend, Will Kane.
Okay. Yep.
Brady was in the wedding, and we went up for that. And made the one of those out and backs. That's a long drive back from Troy at 11 o'clock at night on the back roads. But we made it up there. But Troy is taking the back roads and going over to Oxford
Hottie Toddy.
in a walk in this one.
I think, yes, Lane Kiffin. Who would have predicted that he would have done so well?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Who would have predicted how well he would have done?
Well, we know how well he works with quarterbacks.
Yes.
And he's had no shortage of quarterbacks in there as well. And he has actually calmed down a little bit.
He has.
He's actually funny on Twitter. If you
Yeah.
get a chance to follow him
Yeah.
on Twitter,
Yeah.
he's not serious, but he's not stupid. He's just funny.
Mm-hmm.
I like this Lane Kiffin. You're going to see him and if he goes anywhere else, who knows? But eventually down the road, I think he will leave. But we're all going with Ole Miss. Rice going to USC. This is not your right coast USC. This is your left coast USC.
Right.
So we're going to USC in this one.
Well, let's talk about USC. 4 wins last year. New coach, Lincoln Riley.
New quarterback.
New quarterback. Lots of transfers. Well, I think their quarterback, I think, is a fifth year.
Oh, a young guy.
Is it?
He transferred from Oklahoma.
Okay.
Went along. Caleb Williams.
All right.
I believe he's going to be a sophomore.
Could be.
Sophomore or redshirt sophomore.
They, some folks have talked about 10 wins. I don't see the big jump. The Lincoln Riley factor is going to get athletes there. But keep in mind, they're the same team that lost, well, most part, the same team that lost to UCLA 63-37.
Ouch.
So I don't know. Maybe 8 wins.
In
maybe
another
7.
show in the future, we'll talk about them and UCLA moving to the Big Ten as well.
That's correct.
But just not tonight. So you're going with USC in this one?
Mm-hmm.
The rice patties are not going to show up.
Rice Krispies.
Okay, we got number 7, Utah, going to the Swamp to take on the Gators, one of the best matchups of the weekend. Joe is going with his team, the Florida Gators. Joe's also an Arkansas fan because he graduated from Arkansas. He is going with Florida. I am going with the Utes on the road.
The Utes.
They're one of my Final Four teams.
Yeah, they're certainly in the mix with in the Pac-12. Gosh, that's such a hard place to play, the Swamp. I did pick Utah to win here.
Okay. Let's move over to Miami, not of the Ute variety, but of the Ohio variety, as they head down south to Kentucky. And both Joe and I are going with the Wildcats at home.
Wildcats at home.
Albany, not sure where Albany's out of.
New York.
New York.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Albany State.
There is, out of
in
Georgia.
Which I've been to a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to Baylor. Baylor all over in this one. A lot of people have Baylor as one of their Final Four teams. I'm not quite there yet.
No.
Utah State, after they fell behind to UConn last week, they came back and won big. They're going to Tuscaloosa.
Maybe they were looking ahead. I'm picking Bama in this one.
All three of us taking Bama. Boise State and at Oregon State, going to Corvallis. Should be a good ball game.
Oh, I agree. I picked the Beavers, but it's going to be a dandy.
We all took Oregon State, and then we're going to head to Monday night, and then we'll go back to
or Sunday night.
Is it Sunday night?
It is.
Okay, it's Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. Or else I'm going to show at Coach Craig's house at 6:30 on Sunday.
Okay.
Looking for a cookout.
Florida State, your team.
Yeah.
Going to Nolans.
They've had some success in New Orleans, and they lost to Danny Werfel in the Sugarless Bowl.
That was ugly in 2000.
Yeah.
That was in 1996, was it not?
Yeah.
You know where I watched that game from? I was sitting in my tent in Incirlik, Turkey, watching that game.
Air-conditioned tent?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I was trying to figure out in a pup tent or something.
No.
Mike Norvell's squad didn't look bad. They played the Dukes from Duquesne.
Duquesne.
They
look good. I watched bits and pieces of that game. I was going back and forth between a couple of games. I thought Jordan. Is it Jordan? Is it Travis Jordan or Jordan Travis? I get it mixed up. That's what happens when you name your kid with 2 first names.
Like Bob Grant?
Like Bob Grant. But who's buried at Grant's tomb?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
And he was also the great radio personality in W for years in New York. He's Jordan Travis improved greatly. You could see him just exuberating confidence. Different team than Duquesne.
I like the running back duo that they had going there early in the game.
They had 3 of them over 100 yards.
And but they got, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I was impressed with their running game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, more defensive battle. I think LSU just pulls it out at the end with the. I know they already sold 30,000 tickets from Florida State fans, so it's going to be a pretty mixed stadium with Florida State and LSU. But I think LSU will just nudge out the victory.
Not so fast, my friend. Go Noles.
That's yours.
Go Noles.
Okay, now we go to the game of the weekend. People say, well, that's just because it's your Irish team.
Is it West?
No, this
West
is the
Florida?
game of the weekend.
Oh, Notre Dame's playing this weekend?
Yeah, they're going to Ohio State C-Bus on Saturday night.
Some say
First
Ohio,
game
yeah.
for head coach Marcus Freeman.
Yep, I like him.
I do.
Oh,
I
boy.
do like what he's bringing the identity back to
He
the
is.
program.
He is.
And the recruiting right now, 23 and 24 class, they're doing
Mm-hmm.
quite well. Yes, they did lose a 5-star, but he hasn't decided where he's going to end up going. But you know what? On this piece of paper, I have one thing. I am going to go against that. Because I hardly ever pick against my Irish, and I'm not going to start now.
Oh, you had me at hello.
I'm going with the Irish on the road in the upset. I got to go back to our golf outing a few weeks ago. We had some of our listeners from Saturday morning come into town. One Tom Jarrett's, who's a big Ohio State fan. I hadn't made a putt all day long. We get to hole number 18. We're about 18 to 20 feet from the hole. And he's off to the side. He had already putted. And I went back out and was getting ready to putt. And he goes, Bill, he goes, if you make that putt, Notre Dame by 3. There's a bender to the left, dead center in the middle of the cup. Notre Dame by 3.
Some folks have Ohio State as their pick to beat Georgia in the national championship game. That certainly could happen.
That's my pick. I got them over Bama in the championship game.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
I just think Ohio State has too many weapons.
They do, but you know what? It's hard to pick against your team, and
Oh, I know.
and
I know better than anybody.
if you take a loss in your predictions, so be it. But
I'm going with Ohio State.
there you go. There's our picks.
Sorry
Once
about
again,
that, Bill.
Hey, it's your pick.
But I like your new hat.
But thank you. I appreciate that. But the only way you're going to find out how we did is to tune in next Wednesday. So we're going to go over the rest of this show here pretty quick. We got our Gulf South Conference, our SIAC schedules coming up. But first, let's let you know who are Navarre Raiders that are still playing. Navarre Raider, Michael Carter, year 2 for the Jets.
Yep.
He had a nice rookie season. They got their first game coming up on the 11th of September against Baltimore. This guy is not playing football anymore, but he's playing baseball in his second year in the minor leagues. He's an outfielder, Michael Sandel. Remember that name? One of the best athletes to come out of Navarre. He's in the high A ball for the Houston Astros. He's with the Asheville Tourists.
That came from the movie Bull Durham.
Yeah, and
That's
he's having a better season power-wise. He's 9 home runs, 51 RBI, 23 stolen bases on the season, batting .262 with a 740 OPS. Having a good season.
He's going to be playing maybe single A or double A before the season's over.
Yeah, next we move down to West Virginia. We already talked about defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson. They're playing Pitt tomorrow night. He's a senior there. Colorado State senior Dante Wright. They're going to the Big House on Saturday. Eastern Tennessee University, Quinn Caballero will get, he'll be a senior this year, sat out last year.
Good gravy.
He'll be at Eastern
Senior.
Tennessee.
Wow.
Eastern Kentucky comes on to the preview for Navarre as Running back Josh Carter, the younger brother of Michael and Dwayne, will be playing for Eastern Kentucky this year. He's a redshirt sophomore. They'll be at Eastern Michigan. So it's a battle of directional schools on Saturday.
Yep.
Actually, Friday night. The University of Louisiana long snapper James Segrest. Remember, James played a year at Navarre. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore at the University of Louisiana. They'll be playing Southeastern Louisiana, which is the alma mater of one Blake Ruffino. He played offensive lineman at Southeastern.
Okay.
Harding defensive lineman Mitchell Hunt, a redshirt sophomore. He's in his third year there. They'll be at East Central to start off tomorrow night. Huntington College wide receiver Tyler England, a redshirt sophomore. All right, that's hard to believe.
It is.
But they'll be playing Linfield on Saturday night. Valdosta State will be hosting Kaiser University, and offensive lineman Elijah Melendez, a sophomore. North Carolina Wesleyan has two former Navarre Raiders, quarterback Zachary Marquise and defensive back Makey Domino. They'll be at Randolph-Macon. I believe that's in Georgia. I'm not positive on that, but I'm guessing. That'll be a Saturday night contest. Also, Huntington College, you got Jabari Mitchell, Bailey Houston there at Huntington College. Colorado State, we talked about them, and that's Grady Kelly. They got an early game. I got it as a 10 a.m. kickoff. I think that's got to be an error.
It's 11 Eastern, I
Okay.
think.
And we got University of West Florida linebacker Devin Wright.
Yes.
He'll be playing for the Argonauts this fall. And Millsaps College welcomes linebacker Sebastian Melendez. He'll be a freshman there. They'll be playing against Belhaven. Caden Howard, also a freshman there at Huntington North, Navarre North as we call it.
Yeah.
Faulkner University, Kyle Chambers, he's a freshman there. They lost their first week to Reinhardt, 34-27. They'll be at Point University, which is in Georgia, on the way to LaGrange on Highway 85. Point, if you go eastern, you're going the right direction.
Okay.
Weber International athlete Derek Percival played a little special teams last week, got one tackle, and a 35-10 win over Lincoln Memorial. They'll be at Cumberland University this weekend, along with his teammate wide receiver Trent Hall. And at Warner University, tight end Davion Hardy, freshman at Warner, will be back in the area as they play West Florida on Saturday night.
Wow.
A game being played on campus. Their first regular season home opener at the campus.
Okay.
So there's your Navarre Raiders. Where are they now? Let's go over the schedule real quick, and we're going to get on out of here and then get ready for our broadcast Friday night.
Up on the roof.
There you go. The song will be coming back out, making its
Reappearance.
here in 2022. Valdosta State national runner-ups last year.
Yep.
They'll be hosting Kaiser University tomorrow. Carson Newman at West Georgia, North Greenville at Furman University. And Saturday games, Delta State at Kentucky State, Shorter University at Brevard College, West Alabama at Morehouse College, Warner University at West Florida, and Mississippi College at Albany State. There's your Gulf Coast schedule. Now let's go over to SIAC. Miles College goes on the road at Alabama State. It was on ESPN last week.
Mm-hmm.
Lane goes to University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Delta State at Kentucky State. Clark Atlanta at Edward Waters. Southeastern University at Savannah State. Allen at Newberry. University of West Alabama at Morehouse. Mississippi College at Albany State. Elizabeth City State at Benedict. Those are all Saturday games. Then two games on Sunday, Fort Valley State at Tuskegee and Central State at Winston-Salem State University as they are playing in Canton at the Hall of Fame Stadium.
Oh, how about that?
On Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. But you got a rant for me tonight, Bob?
No, I
No
just
rant?
I have an interesting, a little bit, not a rant though. How small the world is.
Yeah.
We talk about how quickly these young men and grow up and just like Christian Caballero was just starting for Navarre.
I know.
The Florida State Duquesne game. Duquesne's home field seats 1,000 people.
Really?
Yeah.
1,000?
Can you imagine them coming out of the tunnel? And it wasn't a sellout. You saw the pictures. They announced it at 51,000. Just how small.
Did you go to the game?
No, I
Just
did
watched and stayed home
not.
and
Yeah,
watched it?
I was on the pitch.
That's right.
and
Saturday you were doing soccer
I got
games.
sick. I got a little heat prostration. I got
Yeah.
sick with the heat.
You got dehydrated.
Well, that, and we were playing on an AstroTurf field, and the heat was just coming
Were you
up.
playing at Tommy Oliver?
No,
or
we
you-
were playing at the Panama City Beach Fields, not at Frank Brown Park, but further down in actually in Panama City.
Is it at Arnold?
No, it's on. I can't remember the name of the street, but big tournament. I just got overheated, and there was a game watching party in Destin. I went home, took a shower, cooled off, and watched the Florida State game. But how small our world is when you think your alma mater, Notre Dame, seats that much, and this is so many consecutive sellout. Nebraska, so many consecutive.
1962.
Yeah, and Duquesne plays in a stadium smaller than Navarre's.
Wow.
So that's not really a rant. That's just a,
Things that make you go, Seats 1,000.
Well, they had a limp going out of the stadium. They were carrying $400,000.
Ouch.
That Florida State,
Isn't that
which
funny
is cheap.
how
It's cheaper than what they've paid some teams in the past, but it's funny how. What were you saying? It's funny how.
it's funny. It's funny how a little greenback will make the butt whooping a little bit more easier to handle.
And it probably made their budget for the year
Yeah.
and paid for a lot of minor sports, which is always a good thing.
Do you hear the music?
Do I hear
Do
music?
you hear music?
I don't hear. Is that my cue to shush?
Well, thank you for tuning in to Irish
Yeah.
Bill's Twist on Sports. For Seminole Bob, this is Irish Bill. Still working out some bugs. We'll get better as the season goes on. This Friday night from Genesee Russell Stadium, Navarre hosts Pine Forest. Be there or be square. If not, tune in to IrishBillSports.com or YouTube Irish Bill Sports Live. For Seminole Bob and Irish Bill, have a great evening, folks.
Good night, Navarre, and God bless.